Hey guys, I just wanted to take a minute. I just got something in the mail here. I've done a trade-in with Euro Optics on some scopes I'd had. I traded a Night Force and a couple of Mioptas in. Had an older Night Force second focal plane like this one in the background a lot. So I wanted to step up and get into the first focal plane game. I actually own this same scope, but I own it in first focal plane, same as this, but the reticle is what's different. I own a Horus in my other one, and this is just a Leupold's mill dot, which this was a display model, so it was actually quite a bit cheaper than what my other one cost, even considering the reticle's different and usually cheaper than the Horus. But one thing I thought about it, I was like, I like this scope. It's lightweight for what it is. You got 3 to 18 power by 44, Leupold Mark 6. It is 10th mil clicks, has zero stop feature, has the pinch and twist knobs on it, which it's right now they got it set all the way, but it's pretty stiff, and I doubt this has been played with much. And when you let go of it, it will not twist without pinching your two release actuators. And also has, when you get to your second rev indicator, it should stop, have a, well, it works if you're turning it the right way, evidently. But that post, I don't know if you guys can see that, it pops up to let you know it's a physical. And you also, there's a detent in it. You'll feel like a clunk almost in it when it gets to that. But it's non-illuminated. For illumination in these scopes is like ridiculous. So like double the money of the scope. I've actually contacted Leupold about wanting to put like a Horus H58 in this thing, and they're like, it costs so much, we just refuse, not because we don't like you, but just we're not going to charge our customers that much money to put them in. So they would do the TMR reticle, which that's actually what I'm interested in, because this scope, this Night Force in the back, it's got a MLR, which is really quite similar to it. I like it's just clean, it's simple. I like the Christmas tree reticles. The Horus is a little busy, but I just like the simplicity for the wind holds, especially if I'm gonna put this on my 260 in the back. I probably will eventually send this off and get the TMR where I have my half mil marks. The glass in these, I think, are way a step above the Mark IVs. I think Leupold in a while had kind of been just lacking, where the industry has kind of stepped up the game a lot, and I'm glad to see Leupold do that also with the Mark 6 and the Mark 8 line. They're good stuff. Expensive but good. The glass, if a lot of people don't know this, guess what? The glass is not made in America. Sorry, it's Japanese glass. So is the Night Force. So is most of your optics out there. Even if you know, they're usually coming out of an Asiatic company or country, excuse me. China, Philippines, you know, where the glass is cut there and assembled here. It's like the Zeiss Conquest. It's all engineered there, and they send the components over, and it's assembled here in America. That's why it's cheaper, but not saying it's not good. It is, for the money especially. But this Leupold, it's lightweight. I don't know the specs on it. I can't quote it off the top of my head, but what I like about it, it's short, compact. I mean, this thing would be the size of some like 3 to 10 powers, and the weight's 34 millimeter tube. In case you guys are wondering, has parallax adjustment, marked as usual, you know, 75 yards to infinity. And then it has a capped windage turret, which I actually don't mind, because usually I like to hold my wind, because the wind is usually changing much, and you still have the option. You can take your cap off, put it somewhere you don't lose it, and then, you know, adjust for your wind. It's 5 mils right or left marked each direction, so it's good to go there. Same 10th of mil corrections. Elevation, and I'm trying to think what this thing has. I'm gonna say it's like 27 mils of elevation. It's quite a bit. I mean, it'll get you out just about as far to do anything you want to do. I have this scope on a LaRue OBR that has a horse, and I've taken it out to 1,000 yards and no issues spotting a half-size man-size silhouette that far and getting hits on it. Like the glass, it's clear edge to edge. One thing I liked about Euro Optic, they sent me the Butler Creek flip-up covers. I thought that was pretty nice. They were very professional, very quick. The guy called me and said, "Hey man, your scopes look good." They could give me a quote. Said, "We'd like to get this shipped out to you today if you want to do it." And I was like, "Yeah." So they were real nice guys. I probably wouldn't have any problem doing any business with them again. Shipping was awesome. They got with it all the way from Pennsylvania to Tennessee. Got here pretty quick. For rings for this dude, I know this is what I've been holding on for a while. These are American Rifle Company. One thing that's interesting about these rings that everybody's, hey, steel, Badger Ordnance, yeah, I get it. But having a background as a machinist and kind of knowing how things are made and torque specs and all that kind of thing, one thing I found about doing a little bit of research on these rings, and that you will never probably see done much on any other type of ring system, is they take a thermal camera and set them up after shooting them suppressed, getting the guns hot. All that heat would transfer up into the receiver and eventually would come through the scope rings and up into the scope. Well, what effect you might have, I mean, even though as good as optics are today, they are still a delicate instrument. I mean, you have brass, some of them have steel, gears, and there's coatings and seals and glues that are used inside of scopes and assembly processes. Where you start putting immense heat plus shooting in the sunlight, all that in the summertime, it's like 96 degrees here, and you get out shooting suppressed and just string of fire, or you're shooting competition, your weapons out in the sunlight, and you may not be able to get it into the shade. So it's exposed like everything else is. But one thing about this I thought was neat, when they done that same test with these rings, same round count, everything, it's out there on YouTube, you can look for it. When they put the thermal camera on this, you would think aluminum, everybody tells you what to do. It transfers the heat faster, and usually in certain things it cools off faster, it heats up faster, yada yada. Well, the difference is you have a steel pin that comes through these things in hinge pins. So the expansion and heat and contraction rates are different when that aluminum hits the steel pin. So it takes a lot longer for that heat to transfer around that pin and through that pin and up into this end of the scope and on into the other. Hence, stopping the heating of further and putting the heat into your scope. And I always thought these were cool because I've never seen another set that come together like that where your bolt goes through there. And these are some beefy, gnarly rings. And they're lightweight. I've gotten to where I run a lot of LaRue stuff. It's good. Well, guess what? It's aluminum too. And never have any issues with it. As a matter of fact, the rings that are on these are IOR rings. They're aluminum. Never had an issue with them backing out, coming loose, nothing. They've been just as rock solid. I just really wanted to show this scope more. There's not a lot of personal stuff out there on it as far as individuals doing reviews. I think Ryan's Range Report, he does one on it. Ryan does good stuff out there. You can check his stuff out. He does a good review. I think he box tests it and does all that. But this is just, I've just gotten this thing from UPS. But I don't like really reading stuff, reviews from companies, because of course they're going to tell you how awesome it is, how good it is, this and that. I can tell you this much: I wouldn't have took my hard-earned money and bought two of them. And I don't have a problem running really whatever brand, as long as it's good quality. I used to not be a Leupold fan. I'll be honest with you. I think the mid '90s and even later on, I kind of just think they were overpriced. And I still think that, like with going with their illumination, I understand there's electronics in there and a lot of high-speed stuff. But you're taking a scope that's liable to be $2,000 and doubling it just to illuminate the red, and to me that's complete ridiculous. I mean, I don't get it. Night Force, all their stuff is illuminated, and their tactical stuff, and it's no more. It comes that way. I've got the Night Force SHB, and I say the same thing about this scope as I will the SHV. To the older NSXs, the glass is better, and that I can tell it's quite. There's a noticeable difference in the glass quality and clearness and the edge to edge. Same way with this over Mark IV. I've shot Mark IVs on other guys' guns, and they're. I'm not saying they're not good glass, but the technology has advanced forward, and you're getting shorter, faster scopes. There's more lenses in this thing, which the coatings have to be better because you're bending the light, and everything has to be on par. To where some of your longer scopes and stuff, they're less glass in them, but it's lighter. That's one thing I'll give Leupold kudos. You know, so many tactical scopes nowadays, and a lot of guys don't care. They're shooting a 12, 13 pound weapon system and or PRS matches, and it's got steel internals, and you know, like Vortex, their Gen 2 stuff, their Razor stuffs, man, it feels like it's a 3 pound scope. You can pick that thing up and feel like you can knock somebody in the head with it if you had to. You know, but it's a good quality scope. Take nothing away from it, but you know, this is something I may end up, depending on how stuff works out, this may end up on like a Mark 12 SPR. And a lot of people say, you know, 10 power is enough, and as a general rule, yeah, I agree with it. But older I get, I like having that. I'd rather have that extra power and have it, and not need it than need it and not have it, especially if you really want to start pushing the capabilities of pushing the 5.56 or any other cartridge out to 800,000 yards and so on. And yes, you can shoot a 5.56 that far with the right bullet, right twist rate, and if you got good optics. So I just really wanted to get this out. It's been a while since I posted a video about anything, not really a review so much. I have noticed one thing different about this scope. My other one doesn't have like almost like this cattail like feature, like it's like where you can put your finger in it through it. I thought that was kind of a little bit interesting. And my parallax knob is also doesn't have the knurling on it like this, which really doesn't bother me either way. But it for a demo scope, I've looked. There's no ring marks. I don't know if they put it on one of the that's set in a glass case, or they just put it on one of the little wooden guns, you know, where you snap it down in and guys look at it in the store or what have you. And but impressed with it. I figured it would be where most of the time people are kind of weird about optics. Hey man, I don't want to buy this, or I don't want to buy, you know, a used optic. To me, if it's mounted right and it's taken care of, like most of mine have been Safe Queens. Yeah, I painted this one in the back. It's been a deer hunting gun for about a year. It's gotten scratched and bumped up, and it'll probably, honestly, that Night Force will end up probably on my 6.8, and it looks like everybody wants this rough ragtag look a lot of times. Well, that gun definitely has got it. It's been spray painted 2 or 3 times, and it gets rubbed and stuff. I don't worry about it. As long as the lenses are taken care of and everything is not bent or tweaked any on the tube, and you know, that scope's probably, I don't know, bought back in 2010, and it's still rocking. I still like it, even though it's second focal plane, still use it. But for getting into doing maybe some PRS type shooting and everything, I want first focal plane. It's faster. Everything is just so much faster. Which that has illuminated ret, so I may actually use it more hunting early hours in the morning, wee hours in the evening as the sun is going down. So it kind of just makes sense to make that swap too. And plus, this is a shorter scope, 20-inch barrel gun, and first focal plane. So it just kind of lends itself to what I want to do with it. And it may not stay on it forever. I buy something else. I wanted to buy a Heinzolt. Actually, believe it or not, they had some marked down, and but I just didn't want to pony up the money difference between this scope to what the Heinzolt was. Still a good deal. I just, you know, didn't want to have to give that much difference for it. But guys, all in all, if there's any questions about it, I hope maybe if you've looked at these scopes, maybe this will help you out. It's my 2 cents on it. I'm just a regular guy, like to do a little shooting, like to do a little long range shooting from time to time and hunting. I'm going to probably mount it up on these rings and on this gun here in a little bit, and you may see some videos later on of me putting a few down range with it. We're going to test it, and I may even get out and do a little box testing to make sure this thing is tracking good. And if not, I can send it back to Leupold. So, hey, fix your stuff, you know. But let's hope not. Hoping there no issues with it. But, guys, thanks for watching. If you like it, hit the like button. If you don't, don't. Subscribe if you want to. Subscribe if you don't. If you don't want to, I don't care. It don't matter. Have a good day. We'll see you.